Hey everyone, this is Ray Davis. I am the author of SWTracker that works with Spotwalla. And I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about version 1.0.5, which I've just had approved by Apple for release. By the time you're watching this, it hopefully should be online in the App Store. Okay, let's talk about the new feature, the help icon. So I think I mentioned that one of the reasons that we've done this release and one of the major changes is that prior I was not able to get any information to you, the user, at least easily. Although I have a website and I have a YouTube channel, the YouTube channel has only maybe 200 subscribers, and there are at least several thousand app users that use this app with Spotwalla. So I'm reaching maybe 10% of those users. So I wanted a way to get information to you that was easy to get to and that would give you information about new features. So if you run the app now, and you can see it on the screen, I'm running again with the simulator on my Mac to make it a little easier to record. Up in the upper right, you'll see this icon, which is the help icon. Clicking on this takes you immediately to a web page on my site, which is the release notes for this specific release. You see it over on the right as a reminder for me of the things I want to talk about in this video. But you can click on this and you can get in and read about all of the information about all these new changes. So this is my way of providing an up-to-date notification to you that you can take time to read and learn about new features. So again, this icon up here on the left takes you back into the app. This icon on the right, this gear icon, takes you into the application settings, the iOS settings for the app, where you can adjust any of those features, but most importantly will be the location services permissions. We'll show you that a little later because it doesn't actually work in the simulator. So, once more quickly, to get in here from the main screen, you simply tap on the help icon. This comes up and these are visible and allows you to go through the various information that's provided for you. The left arrow will take you back out. During that time, the app will still be operational. So one of the major changes in this release is doing with location services. In prior releases of iOS, they had said in their documentation that you could run this app, a background tracking app, with just while using authorization in the app settings. But for years, I found that didn't work. A couple of years back, it started working. I'm not sure what changed. I don't believe it was in my code, but a couple of releases back, we did find that you could turn that off. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that caused a problem. One of the things that application services allows for is if you're in a special mode called significant location change mode with the GPS, if your app is terminated, the operating system can restart the app if it received a GPS coordinate that it needs to send to the app. That used to work, and then it seemed to break, and I assumed it was Apple took that away, but I couldn't figure it out until just recently. And what we found is that besides having the app in the appropriate location, the significant location mode, you have to have the app location services permissions set to always use. So that's a new change, and let me show you. So I'm going to go back into the release notes here, And from here, there is a very simple icon right here that will open up into the application setting. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in the simulator, so let me overlay my phone on a previously recorded video and let's see if we could watch that happen. We're going to come in here and let's start this video. Okay, let's show you here on the app instead of the simulator. So, when we're in the main page of the app, we tap on the help icon and it brings up this release notes pages, as you can see there. But tapping on the gear icon in the upper right will automatically open the app to the settings for that particular app. This is where you want, if you want to use application restart, this must be set to always. It is very possible that it could be set to when using by default when you initially install the app, because iOS does not provide the option to set it to always. So again, from the app, simply launch the app, go into the help menu, tap on the gear icon, and then change when using to always and exit out, and you will be able to make use of automatic restart. Okay, let's talk about auto retrack and auto restart. First, let's try to understand auto tracking alone, and then we'll get into the auto restart part. Auto tracking has been here ever since the first version of this app, even back when it was SWConnect. It was requested by a beta tester who said he wanted the app to work just like a physical satellite tracker, where he didn't have to push a bunch of buttons or links or anything else to make it track. So the auto tracking, which has been here since the first one, simply the moment you turn on the app starts tracking. It's that simple. And if you enable it, you go into application setting here. Now we've added a subtle difference to what auto track and auto restart. They work kind of hand in hand, but let's go set it up for just auto tracking at this point. So right now, because my location services are only set for when in use, auto restart is not possible. We'll get into that into a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it just to turn on auto track and not worry about the auto restart. So when we go back to the main screen, you can tell you're in auto track mode by the fact that the tracking light here is blinking purple then green instead of just a solid green. Now I can turn off just tracking right here. Auto track mode is still enabled. So if I actually kill the app and I'll throw it out, it's dead completely. Now I'm going to go here and just restart the app. And if you'll notice, it's tracking already. That's what auto tracking does. Okay? So let's go ahead and kill this for just a second. We'll go ahead and kill it all the way, but I'm going to go into the settings. I can get there on the simulator through here, privacy and security, location services, and you can see my SWTracker app right now is set while using. So I'm going to set it to always, and let's chat about why we're doing that. Again, I'll throw this out. So several years back, it turns out that iOS had said, if you put the GPS in a special mode and the app is terminated, it will attempt to restart it if it receives another GPS location. This is called significant location change mode, meaning that it will not do anything until you have moved some significant distance away. That's governed by Apple and out of my control. But the concept here is an app can be terminated by the operating system for any reason, generally that it needs more memory for some foregrounded app. So when the app is being terminated, whether by iOS, because it needs memory, or like I was just doing, throwing it out of memory, um, if you're in the proper mode, it will attempt to restart. So let's go ahead and start the app and see if we can show this. Now, for auto restart to work, the app must be tracking, which we see that it is. It must be in auto track mode, which you can tell here by the blinking light. And your location services have to be set to always. That's the key to the app that says, I really want to restart. It will not, the operating system will not restart the app if the permission is only set to while using. So I'm going to double click this again. Now you can see right up here on the simulator, it's just a white location services arrow. On my phone, it's kind of a blue pill with the arrow within it. I'm going to go ahead and double click on the home button and throw the app out of memory. But if you notice, the arrow has come back. That is because it was in a mode that the application could be restarted by the operating system. Now, if I restart the app, it's running, and so it got restarted. Is it a guarantee that it's going to restart? Probably not, but it seems to be in most cases it will. So this is how you set up. You need to have, for auto restart, you need both auto tracking, tracking running actively, and then you have to have permissions set to always. Now, it's important to know if you want to kill the app and you've got these three things going, it will restart again generally like we just saw. So if you want to actually kill the app and not have it in memory, you need to take away one of those three legs. And the easiest way I found is simply disable tracking, and then you can throw the app out and you'll notice it goes away. There we go. Now you can see it, the location arrow went away and the app is totally out of memory. Auto tracking is still enabled such that if we start the app, tracking will immediately start again. You see the location services arrow came on there. So everything is up and working. So I'm going to disable it and we'll move on to our next feature. Let's talk about the next feature that is available in 1.0.5, and it's a change for photos that are being uploaded to Spotwalla. So I had an email from a user who mentioned that when reviewing IBA rides, that the photos from SWTracker of the they have to submit both a photo of their odometer along with their receipts to get a certified ride. It turns out that the images were not as clear as the Android app, Bubbler GPS, which is kind of not a companion, but it's the Android version, if you will, of this app. So I did a little digging and found out that, first of all, the Android app uses a slightly bigger image. And so we increased the size of the image a little bit. It went from 1024 pixels on the longest side of the uploaded image to 1280 pixels on the longest side. That effectively raised the total resolution by about 50%. I also worked with Jason at Spotwalla, and we found out there were some compression settings on the incoming photos that were being applied, and we kind of dialed that back a bit, which helped as well. And finally, I changed some of the APIs that are used, my Apple programming language here, and I found an API that allowed me to control the compression settings, quality settings a bit better. So all of this just basically means that when you take a picture through the custom message function, you go into custom message, you have to be tracking first. You come into the custom message function and you would click on camera. I can't do this here because I don't have a camera on the simulator, but it would bring up a camera view. You could take a picture. When you do that, the full resolution picture is always stored in your camera roll, and then you send it on up to Spotwalla. So with the new release, the image that is in Spotwalla is a much clearer image and better for those of you that are doing IB8 certified rides. So this should help you out a bit. Please note, the full resolution is always available on your camera, and you can go back should you need to and update the image on the Spotwalla website by posting it from your photo library on your phone. So one of the reasons for this release was based upon an email from a user who was upset about something I put in the last release, and that was this dialogue which popped up when you went to custom messages. What is different now is that I've gotten rid of the dialogue. It's gone, and that is good news. But let me just very briefly show how this works. So I'm going to go back over to my simulator here, and I'm going to make a custom message. And I don't know if you realize you can type messages up here and add your own information. Maybe I'm at McDonald's or something. Anyway, and I can change the category, and I'm going to make it food. Okay? One of the users a couple of releases back said, I have a real problem when I'm on my motorcycle. I try to hit the send button with my big fat fingers, and quite often I hit cancel. And I don't often know that I hit cancel because there was no feedback. The message is gone. So, two things. So what we did is, rather than try to change the size of the buttons and all that, I've added a long press gesture to the app that you simply, when you're in this custom message dialog, whether you have an image here or not, like you use the camera or the library, doesn't matter. But once you're in this dialog here with the send cancel button, you simply tap on the screen and hold it for about 3/4 of a second. And you'll notice it drop down. That is equivalent to hitting send. Okay? So it's very simple. You don't have to try to hit the little button at the bottom. But let me show you the second part of that. If I go back to custom message, now on the simulator I don't happen to have a camera, but I do have a library access. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to grab this image, and if I went now and actually tried to cancel, the app is going to warn you, hey, wait a minute, you've taken a picture. Generally, this is more used with the camera than out of the library. But it says, hey, you took a picture and now you're not going to send it. So it offers you the two capabilities. Yes, cancel this message, I don't want to send it, and no message will go to Spotwalla. Or no, send this message, and that sends it, and it's gone on its way to Spotwalla. So those were available in the last release, but there was this warning dialog that popped up and kind of annoyed a few people. So let's talk about some of the last bit of changes in the 105 release. These are not highly important, but I bring them up just to let you know that there are lots of little changes at times. When location messages are grabbed from the GPS, they are qualified against several criteria before they are packaged up to go to Spotwalla. As soon as there is a GPS location that has been approved to go, it is stored out to disk or permanent memory on the phone, such that if the app crashes, Spotwalla crashes, whatever reason you're nowhere near a cell tower at that time, the location message is saved and stored, and it's protected. It's stored with a file name that was good to the number of seconds from a particular date and time in the past. That's a Unix timestamp. Unfortunately, it was possible, although not highly likely, that I could get two messages, generally when using a custom message, that you could get two messages that have the same timestamp when actually only accurate to 1 second. And that would cause one of the messages to be ignored or deleted before it went to Spotwalla. So I've changed the precision of the name of these timestamp messages, the location messages, so that there is no way that they're going to end up conflicting with each other. So they very quickly, they now will prevent any type of overlap, and that will prevent any problem sending them to Spotwalla. I've changed some of the API calls inside of the app. Apple keeps changing their programming language and the APIs that are available, and there were a few deprecated APIs, which mean they're going away. So I've updated the app to be more up to date with the current standards, which shouldn't make any difference in the way things work, but it should make the app much longer lived in terms of being able to weather further iOS changes. There's also several little minor changes with respect to memory. I did a little memory profiling, found a couple of minor leaks, and I've patched those so that the app, especially when working long term, will stay using less memory, and hopefully that helps it to be more stable. Okay, last part here is what I'm calling best practices and usage, and this is with respect in particular to auto tracking and auto restarting. To understand the auto restart, though, you really need to understand what termination is. Under normal use of SWTracker and most apps, you typically background the app rather than killing it most of the time. On the simulator, I have to hit this home button, and the app goes into the background like that. Now, with most apps, they don't actually continue running. They are freeze-dried, if you will, is a term I've heard. They take the state of all of the app, and it's basically recorded and put out in memory, and then is just not active at all until you tap on the icon again. When you tap on the icon, or you go back to the app switcher, which we could do here by double-clicking on this. This is the only thing that's running, and when I pull it up, an app would come forward and resume where it started off. SWTracker is different than most apps because it's considered a navigation app. It has specialized settings that allow it to continue operating when in the background, and that's fairly unique. Like I said, most apps do not do that. Termination is when you actually kill the app. The easiest way to show that, again, I'm going to double click. We're up in the app switcher, and if you go in the app switcher and take the app and throw it up all the way out of memory, it's dead unless you're set up for auto restart. Okay, so that cleans the app. The next time it's started in general it's like starting from scratch. There's nothing in memory. It's brand new and clean. And that's not a bad thing, because this allows you to start with a good clean app that doesn't have any memory leaks that it's accumulated or anything like this. So understand that not only you can terminate an app like this, but the operating system can. And it can do that generally when you run some other app in the foreground that consumes a lot of memory. Okay, think of something like Facebook Live, YouTube Live, even Instagram or TikTok is another example. Anything that brings down a lot of videos can consume a lot of memory. So if that's happening, iOS has the responsibility to cancel applications that are running in the background because they're still actively consuming memory. And so what it will do is it will send a message to the app that says, you're going down, save any state you need to because we're killing you. So that's application termination. Well, how does the app restart? iOS allows for a particular mode of the GPS. It's called significant location mode, which means that when it's in that mode, it's not tracking once a second or every few seconds like normal. It just notices that you've gone some significant distance from the last point that it recorded, and it will wake up a terminated app or it will wake up a backgrounded app and send it this new information. So that's how it happens. You have to be in an app that has location mode running, but it also must have location permissions set to always. If you don't have it set to always, the operating system will not launch the app again. Okay, so in particular in SWTracker, to relaunch an app, you need three things to be going on. You must be actively tracking. You must have it set for auto restart, and you must have location services set to always, the permissions. So let's talk about auto restart and my thoughts on this. Personally, I don't tend to use it. That's a personal decision because I like to take a little more active stand in starting and stopping tracking to make sure that it's going when I need it to. But I will admit that there are times that I can understand for those that want to use the auto restart capability. If you're an IBA rider, for example, and you're on a 24-hour ride and you want to guarantee to the best of your ability that the app is going to continue to run and track for your ride, by all means, turn on auto track, auto restart. Make sure your permission is set for always on location services. And should for some reason the app be terminated, there is a good chance that it will restart for you automatically. There are a group of people that I've been working with that we were trying to track down why the last release failed, and it turned out to be because of this auto track restart behavior, and I had taken it out of the last one because I didn't think it worked anymore. It now works, but these people like to turn on tracking and leave the app running in the background forever, 24/7 for weeks, months on end. Their goal is to kind of track their usage on Spotwalla over an entire year or something. So in that case, absolutely. Just understand that as an app continues to run, it is going to use more memory. The app does try to be memory efficient and get rid of memory it doesn't need, but it's always possible that it can have a leak and lose memory as it goes. So personally, what I do is when I'm getting ready for an important ride or a drive that I want to make sure I don't have any problems with, what I do is I double click and I get rid of everything out of the app switcher. I then start the app, I enable tracking, and I look down here and wait for the app, the information to go gray. It quite often will start out red, which means that the precision of the GPS coordinates are not up to snuff yet. So you wait until this number right here gets below 30. You can see it's 5 in the simulator. We never get really a bad simulator location, but that's okay. But if it's over 30, this will turn red and it will just be ignoring any coordinates coming in while it's red. And then a couple things I recommend. If you are going on a ride that you want to make sure is going to happen, turn on your tracking. It's suggested that you go in and drop an OK or a custom message here, right away. Click send, and that will do that. When you get to your end location, do the same. Hit a custom message, send it, and then also whenever you hit disable tracking, it will automatically send kind of an end of trip message there as well. So kind of belt and suspenders, that's what I do. I also, at every stop, before I head out again, I relaunch the app and make sure that it's tracking and that everything is looking good. I don't try to rely upon, I expect it to always be working. I've had it work for days on end during testing, and I have users that have it on for weeks and months on end. And generally it's okay, but luckily now the restart is reworking, and in their case that keeps them going a bit better. Anyway, I hope these changes make sense to you, and best of luck using the app. It will be on the App Store by the time you're hearing this video. Take care.